Today, I reversed every starting quarterback's dev trait. If they had X Factor, they now have normal, and vice versa. And if they had superstar, they now have star, and vice versa. Now, some notes on the video. Injured quarterbacks are healthy again. They took whatever the Jaguars gave to Trevor Lawrence, and now they're all back on the field. Also, I focused on the highest overall quarterback on every team, even if they're not the starter anymore. Now, we're gonna do two different sims in this video. The first sim, we're gonna keep everything the same. So, Mahomes, Lamar, they still have X Factor, Hurts, Herbert, all these guys still have abilities. Cousins still normal dev, Goff still star dev, and we're gonna see what happens. And then in sim number 2, that's when we're gonna reverse the dev traits and compare the results. So simming to the Super Bowl in the first simulation where everything is the same. Great time to read the super chat, man. From Names Are Hard 5483 says, please more NBA content. Love your vids. Thank you for the support. I want to try to branch out and do 2K videos as well, so that means a lot, man. So on the first sim, the Chiefs end up with the first seed in the AFC. Jaguars, Ravens, Dolphins, Bengals, Broncos, and Bills make it. A lot of those teams have guys with abilities at quarterback. In the NFC, the Niners and the Cowboys go 15-2. Falcons make it with a star Desmond Ridder, Eagles, Lions, Seahawks, and Rams. So half of these teams have guys that don't have abilities, and they still end up making it to the postseason. As for the stats, Mahomes threw for over 5,000, had 51 touchdowns, led the league in both of those categories. Prescott right behind him, but I think the MVP is Patrick's to take home. No one else was even close, I'll be honest. I mean, that's a disgusting stat line. Here's everyone that was the starter during the season. Lamar only 20 touchdowns, but I'm sure he did his thing on the ground. Daniel Jones, only 2 more touchdowns than interceptions. MVP went to Mahomes, Dak right behind him, Purdy in third. Burrow back healthy. Like I said, everyone's gonna be healthy in this simulation. Ayuk ends up in the top 10. Same with Tony Pollard. In case you were curious, Ayuk set the touchdown record for receivers with 24, had almost a 2,000-yard season. Yeah, that's about as close as you're gonna get to an MVP performance from a wide receiver. And then Tony Pollard had 7 receiving touchdowns to go along with 24 rushing touchdowns. I think that either ties or breaks LT's record at 31 total touchdowns, 1,600 yards. Disgusting season. The playoff bracket ends up with the Chiefs and the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, and the Cowboys end up winning. Dak wins Super Bowl MVP. Both quarterbacks had abilities, but that's gonna change in this next simulation. Now it's time to bring out the Uno cards and hit every quarterback with that reverse. Mahomes goes from X Factor and Bazooka to just a measly old normal dev. Now every quarterback's gonna keep their overall, but how much of a fall will Lamar take now that he goes from X Factor to normal dev as well? Joe Brrr goes from superstar dev to just star. Josh Allen goes from X Factor to normal. Dak Prescott goes from superstar to star. Jalen goes from X Factor to just normal dev now. Tua just got abilities not too long ago. Now we have to take it away from him. He's down to star. Herbert goes from superstar to star. Same situation as Brock Purdy. And Aaron Rodgers for the Jets, back as the starter, but he's only star now. Now for some feel-good stories. Kirk Cousins goes from normal dev to X Factor. Jared Goff goes from star dev to superstar. CJ Stroud just got his abilities, and unfortunately, we have to take it away from him. He goes down to star. Trevor Lawrence goes from superstar to star. The Rams are cooking with Kyron Williams back in the lineup, and now their quarterback Stafford goes from normal dev to X Factor. The Seahawks go from normal dev Geno to X Factor Geno. They counted out Dangerous Wilson and the Broncos, and now they're only one back of the Chiefs in their division. Wilson goes from star to superstar. Kyler goes from star to superstar. The Packers get an X Factor Jordan Love. Baker Mayfield, a perfect passer rating on the season now that he's X Factor dev. Justin Fields goes from star dev to superstar. Joe Flacco has been cooking for the Browns, but Watson's back healthy. He's the highest overall, and he goes from star to superstar. Derek Carr goes from star to superstar as well. Washington gets an X Factor Sam Howell. Kenny Pickett now has abilities. Tannehill back in the Titans lineup, and he has X Factor dev with escape artist. Anthony Richardson back healthy for the Colts. He now has abilities too. Unfortunately, we had to take Bryce Young's abilities away from him. Desmond Ridder now a superstar dev. Another quarterback that not only gets X Factor, but now has escape artist. Daniel Jones from from one Jones to another. Mac now has superstar dev. And finally, 69 overall, Jimmy G goes from normal dev all the way to X Factor. We saw what happened in sim number 1. What's gonna happen in this one? Now that we reversed every dev trait for all the QB1s, give me your predictions in the comments. Who do you have coming out of both conferences? I like Denver. In the AFC, I think Russell Wilson with some abilities could do some damage. I kind of like the Bucks in the NFC, Baker with X Factor and all those weapons. Look out. Bills go 16-1, even though Allen is now normal dev. Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos, along with the Colts make it. So my AFC pick did make the playoffs, but a lot of the same teams that made it in the first sim still made it in sim number 2, even though the quarterback's dev trait was flipped upside down. In the NFC, we had the Cowboys with the 1 seed, Eagles, Saints, Niners, Packers, Commanders, and Buccaneers, 2 for 2 in terms of both of my predictions making it to the playoffs. Now the Seahawks, I think, made it in the first sim. Same with the Lions. So a couple of teams that we saw in the playoffs before did not make it after we changed up their dev trait. Mahomes actually, you know, took a step back in terms of passing yards and touchdown. Threw 14 less in this sim. Dak still at the top though. Now he just went from superstar to star, so not as big of a difference. Hurts ends up second, even though he went from X Factor to normal. Allen, Mahomes, Lamar. Highest quarterback that went from no abilities to abilities was Kirk Cousins. 33 touchdowns, 8 INTs. Who else? Jordan Love, 3-to-1 touchdown to reception ratio. He got himself some abilities. Same with Sam Howell. Almost threw twice as many touchdowns and INTs. Desmond Ridder, another guy that got some abilities. Jared Goff as well. So we didn't see the crazy seasons that we usually do from the guys at the top, but we saw some better seasons from guys that got abilities like Daniel Jones. He did a lot better. Threw 10 more touchdowns in this sim. Baker only threw 2 more touchdowns than INTs. I expected him to do better. Same with Ryan Tannehill. Kenny Pickett, same amount of interceptions and touchdowns. Like, these are guys that got abilities. Anthony Richardson went from star to superstar and did not have a good season. Jimmy G could not overcome that 69 overall. Lamar still did his thing on the ground. Even without abilities, he averaged 5 yards a carry. Fields, 700 yards rushing. Hurts, Allen, Kyler killed it on the ground. Same with Watson. Burrow was rushing a lot. Same with Herbert. Where's Tannehill? I guess the playbook comes into effect a little bit too much. Like, I want these quarterbacks to take off more if they have escape bars. You know what I'm saying? I guess playbook matters a lot, because I don't even see Tannehill anywhere. There he is. 73 attempts. Okay, not terrible, but I expect a little bit better from the yards. Josh Allen wins MVP. Hurts ends up second. Dak's still in the top 5 with Mahomes, and then Lamar ends up third. So not too much changed. I mean, Kirk ends up in the top 10. He's the only one that didn't have abilities that ended up with abilities out of all these 10 quarterbacks. Normal dev Lamar and the Ravens beat the Broncos with superstar Russell Wilson. Baker and the Bucks move on. They beat the Saints. The Chiefs take care of the Chargers. Niners with a star Purdy still take care of X Factor Howell and the Commanders. The Colts move on barely against the Bengals. And then the Packers take care of the Eagles, but then lose to the Niners in the divisional. The Chiefs take care of the Ravens. Bucks beat the Cowboys. X Factor Baker's headed to the conference championship game. And then the Colts take care of the Bills. So one of my picks gets ousted in a wild card, but the other one is 1 game away from the Super Bowl. They got to get through San Fran. Meanwhile, they're either going to play the Chiefs or the Colts. Let's take a look at Purdy without any abilities, which is what he was doing the first half of the season. Like, he just got superstar dev not too long ago. Uh-oh. Here comes Vita Vea, first sack of the game for the Buccaneers. Another play like that, they could be out of field goal range. This is huge. They had a good drive going, and Purdy's going to throw it away. Okay, they're going to take the 3. Nice stop from Tampa Bay. X Factor Baker now on the field. He has some talent to work with, but he's also going against a very talented Niners defense. Let's see if they're man coverage on a 2nd and 9. Yes, that's what it looks like. Oh, he had him. A little bit inaccurate. 3rd and 9. Let's see how he bounces back. Here comes Warner on the blitz. Oh, Baker has to escape, and he throws another incompletion. 3 and out to start. That Niners defense does not care who you have a quarterback, what abilities your quarterback has. They're going to send a pressure pressure, and they're gonna make your life not very fun, okay? They have a commanding lead in the fourth quarter. Buccaneers just a little bit outmatched, down 2 possessions, and they're going home. So my NFC pick, Tampa Bay, did not quite make it to the Super Bowl. They were 1 game away though. So half of our Final Four featured 2 quarterbacks that got abilities and 2 quarterbacks that got their abilities taken away. Richardson and the Colts are part of the former. X Factor would have been crazy if he had escape bars, but hey, Superstar is pretty good too. I mean, he's doing his thing on the ground. 12-yard gain right there. Now his only weapon with abilities is Jonathan Taylor. So we'll see how much he goes to him. Chris Jones gets to the quarterback. I think he's the only one on this Chiefs defense that has abilities. So right now we're seeing how much they matter. JT on the screen on 3rd and forever. They're gonna have to punt. Now Mahomes with normal dev, he still ends up making it to the conference championship game, and his receivers still dropping passes. Now obviously he still has Travis Kelce, so we'll see how much he goes to him. Probably gonna target him a bunch. Yeah, that's the only weapon of his that has abilities right there. Okay, Pacheco holds on. Yeah, he didn't have him in that last game they played, and I think he missed him quite a bit right there. Nice deflection. Both teams start off punting the football. Now who's gonna take over and strike first? Okay, the Colts get the first touchdown. They go 2 possessions in the second quarter, but you can't count out Patrick Mahomes. Even though he doesn't have abilities, he still has that arm. He still has that overall. He still has those instincts. Late in the game, Chiefs turned it over twice. They're losing a turnover battle, but they're still up 4. 3rd and 2 for the Colts. Big play. Richardson gonna go down. So it all comes down to this 4th down and 12. Can Anthony make a play? He's gonna step up. Chris Jones and Derek Nottie get to Richardson. Mahomes is headed back to the Super Bowl. Didn't have his best performance, but he still did more than enough, even without his X factor. So in the Super Bowl, we have 2 quarterbacks that got their abilities taken away from them. Purdy versus Mahomes. Once again, both teams gonna punt on their first drive, but the Niners strike first. Chiefs answer right back, and they actually take the lead in the second quarter. But both teams are getting a taste of what the lead feels like in this game. Niners up multiple possessions at one point. KC gonna punt the ball down 8 with less than 3 minutes left in the game. I guess they trust their defense. 3rd and 8. Biggest play of the game for the Chiefs. Purdy gonna take off and get the first down. The Niners are gonna win the Super Bowl 24-16. So the dev trade that we reversed in Brock Purdy's situation did not end up mattering, man. His team was too disgusting, and there you have it. That's what happens if you reverse every quarterback's dev trait in the NFL. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Obliterate the like button. Can we get to 1,000 likes? I think that'll be beautiful, man. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.